This is a KMTV 3 News Now weather alert.
I'm 3 News Now weather alert meteorologist Jennifer Zeppelin along with Ryan McPike, and we are covering this winter storm as it impacts the area. We're going to be doing cut-ins throughout the morning and also doing live Facebook updates throughout the morning as well, providing you with the latest information on what this storm is doing, and we've got you covered across the area right now. We've got 3 crews that are going to be covering the storm throughout the morning hours.
Yeah, and you know, it's snow's starting to kind of pick up here, and even a couple hours ago you could hear maybe what it sounded like sleet or rain. Most of this has gone over to wet snow here in the metro right now. The roads are wet, becoming a little icy and snow covered, and you can see the graphic behind us, Jen. We're still under the winter weather advisory, Omaha North. Tell you what, again, it looks like, and we were talking about this, exactly who sees the heaviest snow certainly looks south of us, but in the metro it's kind of interesting because we're on the back edge of the northwest side of what could be some decent accumulating snow, but you go a county or two north, not much at all here.
Yeah, coming in, the roadways were slushy in some cases, a little wet. I did see some crews out, again, trying to get a handle on things. We're still sitting at 31 degrees, so just right around freezing. As temperatures and that colder air starts to move in and the winds continue to kick up, that's when we'll start to see a lot more issues kind of just compounding and accumulating over the next couple of hours. Certainly some big changes. As you mentioned, a large portion of our viewing area under the advisories and blizzard warnings due to those strong gusty winds. And this is really a far-reaching storm system. So it's not just in Nebraska and Iowa right now, all the way down to the south into Kansas and even back to the east of us. We're talking winter storm warnings that extend over into eastern Iowa and then back to the west over Illinois. So a large portion of the country impacted. Again, a high travel day because of Thanksgiving, and now a lot of folks going home, a lot of folks actually heading back to school after a break during the Thanksgiving holiday. And so that's some of the biggest issues that we're going to be contending with and dealing with here throughout the early morning hours. Wanted to kind of break it down for you. Again, we're under a winter weather advisory here in the Omaha Metro. So what that basically means in a situation like this, potentially dangerous winter weather is expected. It is now occurring across the area, which will make for difficult travel. When we do talk about a blizzard warning, this is the criteria for that. Severe winter weather expected or occurring, including whiteout conditions and travel basically impossible. So again, further to the south of I-80 is where the biggest concerns and issues will be throughout the early morning hours and really even into the afternoon and potentially into the early evening. Now again, these watches and advisories and warnings in effect until around 6 o'clock tonight. Here's the big scope right now on who is seeing the snow, who's seeing the mixed, and also the rain. That band of snow filling back in over the Omaha Metro. Within the last hour or so, we saw a little hole kind of developing, meaning that we saw it kind of shutting down on the snowfall, but now that is increasing. And you can see between Atlantic, Nebraska City, switching over to that mix, and still rain between Clarinda, Maryville, but then you'll start to see that heavier snow kicking in here. So the timeline on what we've been showing here for the past couple of days is continuing and really continuing to see this thing unfolding, and we'll keep seeing more snow coming down. You can see that definitely lighter snow, if like only nothing really back to the north between Tekamah, Denison, and even the Norfolk area. We do have our crews on the ground, as I mentioned. So we've got multiple crews out there. Christy, what was that you just mentioned? Okay, so Jake is on I-80, and we are looking at some incredible footage coming in from some of our crews out there. We've also got John Kipper. So here is I-80 right now, showing you how the roadways are beginning to deteriorate. So again, the snow is picking up. The overall coverage and intensity is increasing, and you can see that this is going to be a major impact storm, not only here in the Omaha Metro, but even further to the south. Yes, Christy? You have the... Okay, so I'm going to toss out to Jake and let Jake kind of give us the latest on what is going on right now. So Jake, fill us in on what kind of road conditions you've been running into. Can see that things are definitely changing very quickly.
Hey Jennifer, yeah, it really has been changing pretty quickly out here. We are just passing the Nebraska crossing outlets in Gretna on I-80, and the snow is just starting to really stick to the ground a little bit, especially on the interstate, especially in the right lane of the interstate. About the past 5 minutes was the first time that we've seen snow actually sticking to the ground. The wind could play a part of that, as we're seeing it kind of blow, directly at us. But again, the shoulder has just a little bit of snow sticking to it. The right lane is getting it as well. We saw the NDOT sign out already with winter conditions, asking for people to drive slower speeds. Advised at this point. Only have seen a handful of vehicles out here, and everybody is going a lot slower than the speed limit. Photographer Wade Luck's probably going about 55 out here right now, and the road is still pretty wet. But again, some of it is starting to stick on the right lane if you are heading on the westbound lanes of Interstate 80. We're going to send it over to John Kipper now, who has an update as well where he's at.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jake. So yeah, right now we are on Highway 370 in Sarpy County, pretty close to 36th Street on Highway 370. We're currently heading west. Echoing kind of a lot what Jake has seen in terms of road conditions. We'll show you a few different angles. That's our front view right now, just on 370. The snow certainly coming down. The road's not incredibly slick yet. We were just discussing with the photographer, Mike Simmons. He says traffic's going about 5 under the speed limit right now. We're going a little bit slower than that. But things are certainly moving. Not a ton of cars out right now. But it obviously is coming down. Show you a different angle. Kind of what we're seeing in terms of the wind. It is very windy right now. We've actually, in fact, seen several signs that have bent, that are flapping back and forth rapidly. We just saw an American flag that was going all over the place as well. So it is very windy, and that's only going to likely get worse as the day persists. If you're in Sarpy County, the good news is there has been plenty of maintenance trucks out, plows, things of that nature. I've counted at least a half dozen that we've passed so far since being out for around an hour and so. And we've just been kind of going back and forth on 370 east and west. And it hasn't gotten too slick yet, but we can only imagine it's just a matter of time before that happens. So we're going to stay in Sarpy County, kind of floating around this area to see how things progress throughout the day. But that's all we have for you for now. Reporting for 3 News Now, John Kipper.
Thank you very much, John and Jake. Great updates just to show you how things are beginning to change across the area. Once again, here is this band of snow, and we're seeing some heavier pockets picking up here in the Omaha Metro. Again, more of a wintry mix further to the south in Atlantic, and then around Clarinda and Nebraska City, still coming down as rain, but that will begin to shift and change as that colder air keeps moving in across the region. We're going to throw it back in to Ryan McPike, a little bit more on the specific details on what you're kind of seeing on radar right now, and kind of what are the areas that we really need to watch out for.
Yeah, Zep, I tell you, we're looking at your radar, and you've kind of got the enhanced version, that mosaic, if you will, that shows the combination of that snow, kind of the transition from rain to maybe a little sleet to snow, and then just rain in northwest Missouri. And that rain snow line continues to press from northwest to southeast. This is actually radar estimates, and again, this generally rounds up. So keep that in mind. Very light though, just a dusting to maybe a 1/4 inch. Again, this is outside the winter weather advisory, just a county or so north of us, not much. What's interesting though, and you can kind of see on her radar, and I'll show you this in a little bit closer fashion too, that we already have the radar estimating 1 to maybe 2 inches from Fremont back to Columbus and York, and a lot of this still under 2. Again, this kind of rounds up. But what's happening, it's really interesting. We're starting to see these enhanced bands that may impact parts of the metro over the next several hours. And then obviously the heavier rain and the deeper, or the heavier snow and deeper moisture is going to be south. So this is actually Snow Machine on our exclusive Viper HD, where you get in the brighter white. That would be some of the heavier pockets of snow. And you can see at least right now it's kind of spotty. We'll fan this out a little bit and starting to see that fill in and increase a little bit from northwest to southeast. In fact, we'll kind of go back to what Zepp was showing you here. There's the rain snow line that continues to push east and southeast. So we're starting to turn over from Atlantic back toward Nebraska City, Fall City, Maryville down to St. Joe. Incidentally enough, places that will see the worst of this with the highest snow amounts and a lot of blowing and drifting, a lot of that's still just rain, but it will quickly be transitioning from northwest to southeast if you're watching us there. All right, this is what I really want to hone in on. This is our enhanced snow version. And again, you'll notice here on the last update a couple of minutes ago, we're still seeing what appears to be maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of snow per hour right along the Platte River. What we're watching is to see how this is going to evolve north and east and how much of the metro gets in. My gut is it may encompass a lot of the city where we start to see a little bit of enhanced snow. That would increase our totals. But again, here we are again, Omaha right on the fence, maybe a couple on the north and northeast side of the town. And then as you go down towards, say, Bellevue, parts of Papillion onto the south there towards Plattsmouth. That's where the amounts may really pick up. And you can see that blizzard warning, Cass County south and east. So it's really one county outside the metro, a couple counties north, no advisory. So you can see another time we're going to be right on the fence here, and something to watch as we continue coverage over the next couple of hours. So with that being said, obviously it is a huge travel day, even though we're early. And I noticed coming back from Kansas City yesterday, a lot of people were getting to jump on this. Traffic was very heavy even a day before, so people kind of paying attention to the weather. But I believe we have Maya out at the airport kind of watching the situation there. I know it's early, Maya. It's just after 5 o'clock on this Sunday. It looks windy and cold. What's the latest on the flight situation there?
Yeah, Ryan, and I think you're going to be seeing me dabbing, but it's actually because we have to block all that wind and snow that's coming in. It's actually really windy, and that snow is coming kind of straight at you. As I see a lot of people walking into Epley Airfield. But yes, heavy travel day, as you mentioned. We took I-80 eastbound here and drove through Abbott Drive. The roads are pretty wet, but pretty clear for the most part. We've seen a lot of clouds kind of going through and clearing out the way, but very busy here at the airport since right a little bit after 4 o'clock. A lot of families coming in here, and huddles of people just kind of hiding behind one another. Again, that wind and that snow just kind of pretty strong at this point for those who are having, as you can see, this person kind of getting out of their vehicle, but coming inside of the airport is when a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of people complaining. The drive, not so bad, but there's going to be a lot of flights today. Just checked online on flyomaha.com. About every 15 to 30 minutes there's a flight out, so it's going to be pretty busy, so make sure you take your time. I also checked a lot of flights, especially headed to the west over the Rocky Mountains, are already canceled. So also be sure to check your flight status if you're going to be heading out of Omaha today. Reporting live, Maya Saenz, 3 News Now.
Maya, thank you very much for the latest update from Epley. And obviously, this is going to be a storm that will be impacting us throughout the entire weekend, at least throughout the day on Sunday. So we will continue to keep providing more updates. We're also going to keep doing online, but we're going to be doing a lot of updates, live updates on Facebook at 3 News Now. So you can follow us there for the latest information on that. Plus, we'll continue to keep tweeting information out. If you do have any pictures you want to send to us, you can go to pics@3newsnow.com. Well, Ryan McPike and I